Billy talk about the randomness. From ancient Rome to UFOs, we'll take you where the weirdness goes. It's two guys talking way too loud about stuff that makes no sense, but we're kinda proud.
Well, welcome to the All the Everything podcast special edition for our YouTube watchers and subscribers only. Now, if you were watching this out of order, we did have a podcast release of our top 5 TV shows of all time that we love the most each.
That's right.
And this is a special continuation of that. And we're going to give our top 3 shows that we loved as a kid growing up or a teenager. And so you guys get this little extra bonus. So it won't be very long, but we wanted to give you our kid list, how much TV we watched and what we like. So kicking us first is Billy. And Billy, what is going to be your show?
All right. So exclusively for y'all here on YouTube, my show that I absolutely loved as a kid and millions of kids have loved as well. That is Sesame Street.
The one and only.
That's right. Mana mana. Do 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 do. Mana mana. Sorry. I love Sesame Street. Just as growing up as a child and learning your ABCs and your numbers and going along Big Bird and Elmo and the Count. I mean, you got the Muppets and all these wonderful themes that you learn about. And even they dealt with the hard topics that some kids unfortunately have to go through, like divorce and parents in prison. They gave one of the Muppets HIV and how to deal with that, and people that was back in the early 2000s, and so that was a topic that some kids had to go with. They dealt with children in foster care and homelessness and just all these different things. Autism with Julia. I love Julia. But yeah, who is your favorite Sesame Street character? Tim?
Oh, probably the one I can relate to the most is Cookie Monster, because I absolutely I love sweets so much. I just pictured shoving down as many cookies as I possibly could. We kind of model each other. They got that from me. No, but so many great characters. Snuffleupagus is great. Obviously,
Snuffy.
Big Bird. And
Yes.
Oscar the Grouch. I mean, how do you not?
Just geez, I love it. And see what was so really cool was like when my girls were really little and getting to watch. I got to watch a lot of Sesame Street as a older 30s guy and just relive that and just how special it is. And Cookie, and like I actually got Cookie Monster singing a song to me. B is for Billy. It's good enough for me. B is for Billy. And so I love Sesame Street.
Yeah, it is such a great learning experience, and it's been on for so many years and so many different countries, and they tackle so many great fun topics. They have so many celebrities on the show constantly.
So many, yes,
been on there, and it's actually kind of helped some of their careers. It's kind of softened them up for people who didn't know what they were all about, and then seeing them on Sesame Street. And Sesame Street's a great one. I mean, every kid's watched Sesame Street.
Yeah, there was this video that just came out with Spider-Man. He was Andrew Garfield. And he lost his mother in real life, and he was doing a video with Elmo. And Elmo was like, "What's wrong, Andrew?" And he's like, "Well, I'm kind of sad today. I'm missing my mom." And just, I mean, I'm 41 years old, just bawling on watching this video on TikTok the other night. And I showed it to Michelle, and she's like, "Oh." And so, Sesame Street.
Yeah, Sesame Street's awesome. One of my top 3, not in any specific order.
Yeah,
something I did. I think it was always every Saturday, from what I can remember, was good old WWF, or before it was WWE wrestling. Now we could all say that the best wrestling that ever happened in the 80s, right? You had some of the best characters that are pillars today, right? You had Hulk Hogan, big 80s time, Macho Man.
Macho Man.
We had the Ultimate Warrior, who went absolutely crazy.
Yes.
You had Andre the Giant. the list just goes on and on and on for the 80s wrestling.
Yes.
But for being a pre-tween boy or wrestling and into teenage years, even as an adult, I watched wrestling. But it was just amazing to sit down. We did it with my brothers. I think some of my sisters might have watched, but we had friends come over, and wrestling was always a big part of a Saturday for us. You know, there's also the Saturday cartoons, which will be a whole another episode one day.
Love it.
But for me, just the love of seeing people wrestle and the characters, it was just so much fun. And something you could kind of do as a family because it wasn't really like R-rated or anything back in the day. Just some good old classic wrestling.
Well, see, when I was a teenager, though, it was the Attitude Era in the 90s. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and the People's Elbow and Eyebrow. And so you had that Altitude and D-Generation X. And I just remember I loved wrestling. And I had a D-Generation X. It had a picture of all of them, a T-shirt. And I would wear it to school. And I was always so nervous because one of the characters was Badass Billy Gunn. And so he was wearing a bandana that just said badass. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble for having a cuss word on my shirt at high school. I never did, but yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear you were unscathed. Yes, I was a big fan of the NWO. I used to wear the NWO shirts.
The Wolf Pack.
The Wolf Pack. It was all a big deal. And I had too many people coming over to my house when my wife and I were first married, and we'd do like fake wrestling matches. It was pretty bad. I don't know how she stayed with me during that time because it was really embarrassing to think back on. So anyhow, WWF wrestling is for me. What's your second one, Billy?
Second one would be Lois and Clark: The Adventures of Superman, starring Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher. Debuted in 1993. This is one of the foundations of my love for Superman came from this television show. If you watched or listened to our full podcast about our favorite TV shows, my number one was Smallville and the growing up of Clark Kent. But this one got me to the love of Superman, and it was more homey and like not as edgy as some of the other ones. But I will say it did end on a cliffhanger with them finding a baby that they said was theirs, and we don't know whatever happened to that baby. So, but yeah, Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
That was a really classic one, and it starred who are the two people that starred?
Dean Cain as Superman, and then Terry Hatcher. I just remember those pictures she did. She did a photo shoot where she was just wearing the cape. Back in the 90s, and I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing?
Hello.
But
they went on to have big careers after that show and during things.
She went on to do Desperate Housewives. That was another big one that she was known for as well.
She was also on Seinfeld too, if you remember. So they're real and they're fabulous. Anyhow, skipping ahead to my number two before we get in trouble on other things we're talking about here. One of the other ones was another live action show. It was a show that was always on TV after school, and we'd watch it all through our teenage years, and that was Double Dare.
Double Dare.
You remember it?
I do remember it. They filmed it in Orlando at Universal Studios.
They did.
And one of my best friends got to go and be in the crowd, and I remember watching him on TV in the audience, and I was like so jealous. But
Double Dare was great because all they did was live stunts. They do these bigger than life props that they had to go up a huge nose to pull out a flag. The best was the very final thing, right? The final obstacle course they had to run to win whatever their prize was. At that point. I forget. But it was always something I looked forward to coming home after school. I think I said I was like a teenager at that time, and friends would come over, and awesome, really fun, wholesome show. We should do like a rewatch of Double Dare to see how it still holds up today.
And then What Would You Do was right around that same vibe as well, wasn't it? What would you do? Do you remember that show? What Would You Do with Mark Summers?
No, I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that? Oh, it was just like
If I saw it, maybe I can't picture it.
But it brings me back to those old Nickelodeon days when you had Double Dare and What Would You Do, and you had
the original was You Can't Do That on television.
Oh yeah,
That was the original like sketch comedy on Nickelodeon back in the day. So anyhow, but yeah, good show. I'll have to check out the other one as a reminder and see if anyone else remembers it as well. I'm sure they do. And then your final one is what, my friend?
My final one is Boy Meets World.
Classic show.
I love that. You have Corey Matthews, you have Topanga, you have his best friend Sean and their daily shenanigans. You have his older brother Eric, and you got Feeney, Mr. Feeney from next door. That basically was their teacher their entire careers, like students. I mean, from the 6th grade through high school, he moved on up, and then when they moved to college, guess what? He went and was a professor in college. I mean, you had to have Mr. Feeney.
He was like their confidant and like their moral compass. Yeah,
and he was wonderful. I love that show. It still breaks my heart, that one episode that Corey cheated on Topanga at the ski lounge with that one girl. I'm like, dude, what are you thinking? You had Topanga as your girlfriend, and you messed it all up. Yes, like he gets hurt going skiing, so he's in the lobby, and I guess she works there, and I'm like, dude, come on, bro.
Let me decide. Table this conversation to why on shows do they do that to us? These people who are, and they always make one person go cheat on the other person. It just makes us mad at home. Stop doing that.
It's like,
this is all the people who make movies. Don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but I love Boy Meets World. Yeah. TGIF, y'all. TGIF.
Woo! All right. And my final one was The Wonder Years.
It's another Savage Boy.
Yes, it is. So that starred Fred Savage as Kevin Arnold, and his girlfriend he chased forever and finally got was Danica McKellar, who played Winnie. And it was based off 1968 to 1973. The very first episode, Winnie's brother's in Vietnam and he dies. And they kind of become close right there. One of the coolest things about the show that was original was the voiceovers. So it would always be him reflecting back on his life and doing the voiceovers. Do you know who did the voiceovers for Kevin?
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember the voiceover. I don't remember who the voice was.
It was Daniel Stern. Do you know who Daniel Stern is?
I don't. Who is that?
He played one. You'll recognize him from this. He played one of the crooks in Home Alone.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes.
With the bigger nose.
The bigger nose. Yes.
Yeah. So that was Daniel Stern. He was always the voiceover guy. Yes. The Wet Bandits, as they're known as. But that was such a cool show because even though like I didn't grow up in 1968 to 73, it's always kind of fun to see the simplicity of the family core back then.
Yes.
Seeing them on the different bikes and the different styles of that time frame and everything they go through as teenagers, they're young kids and everything they go through during that was really amazing. So that was really one of my favorite things about the Wonder Years was just seeing all that, the nostalgia and then the voiceovers and all the stuff they went through together. Most of it was comedy, but a lot of it was serious sometimes when it came down to talking about the war and things like that.
Exactly.
And they dealt with loss and all those kind of fun things as well.
Exactly.
But I remember that being one of my favorites is growing up was watching the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
And then just kind of put myself in their shoes and seeing that.
Exactly. And Fred Savage went on. He played in what's the monster movie with Howie Mandel? Do you remember that?
Oh, I do, but I can't think of the name of it.
Or the Nintendo movie. Gosh, I mean, he
wanted to do a lot. He was hot there for a while.
He went and he was in Austin Powers. Mole.
Oh yeah, yes. Definitely remember from Austin Powers, of course.
Yep.
But I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining us for our first little special video YouTube special only episode.
Just for y'all.
So many fun things we want to talk about and go into, but we can save those for next time. So thank you for joining us. Billy, you did an amazing job today as well.
You too, my friend. You too.
And we can't wait to see you next time on another episode of All the Everything Podcast. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, y'all.